communication, because we understand that President John Dramani Mahama has decided to pardon the CEO or the acting CEO of the Gold Board following recent issues that came out with the sharing of dollar and the rest. Let's speak to Phyllis Kwakye Ofosu on this matter. Phyllis, good evening. Thank you very much for your time. Many will ask, how did the president arrive at this particular decision?
Well, the chief of staff is the one who handled the matter. Immediately after the matter broke out, he extended an invitation to Mr. Sammy Gyamfi to hear his side of the story, because it was important to hear him before any pronouncement could be made. He heard him, and Mr. Sammy Gyamfi provided his end of the story. He explained what transpired. The chief of staff also took into account the apology that Mr. Sammy Gyamfi himself issued, which then showed a certain level of contrition and acknowledgement that there was a need to avoid such happenings. So, having apologized and having rendered his side of the story, the chief of staff then briefed the president, and then it was determined that the apology should be followed with a caution to Mr. Sammy Gyamfi to ensure that such a development does not recur. And it is believed that these two are sufficient as remedies to the matter at hand. And that was the basis upon which this position was taken.
Felix, how do you react to people who say that this particular issue comes on the back of the launch of a code of conduct for all government appointees, where the president himself did the launching, and so the expectation was that the president was going to, announce some punishment on the back of these announcements or the launch of this particular code?
The first point is to be able to show that a specific part of the code of conduct has been breached. If that has happened, then any punishment should be commensurate with the offense. So those are the two things that must be considered. The first point is that there's really no specific provision in the code of conduct that covers giving gifts to people or giving something to someone. In this instance, Mr. Gyamfi was seen giving some money to the lady in question. Now, does giving money to somebody constitutes a breach of the code of conduct? If you look into the code of conduct, nothing of the sort is in there. In any event, assuming that it was even a breach, the code of conduct itself spells out sanctions for any breach. One of the sanctions is the issuance of a public apology, and the second is a caution from the presidency. These two have actually been done in this particular instance. So the president believes that these suffices, even though you cannot point to a specific part of the code of conduct that has been breached. The public took offense, and on that basis, there was then the need to look into the matter. And the president believes that the work done by the chief of staff on the matter is sufficient, and that is why this position has been taken.
Will this not open the floodgate for other appointees to engage in similar acts or acts which are similar to these ones and just come and issue a public apology and the president will let go?
The first point is to show that if I give you money, does it constitute an offense? We need to determine that. Yes, there may be public anger against them, but you need to examine the event. So, for instance, I go to an event and I donate some money. Should I be punished for doing so? Or if you approached me with a specific request and I handed over some money to you, does that constitute an offense that should lead to stiff punishment? That is what must be looked at. Again, I'm not sure about how that leads to the opening of the floodgates. Again, we need to be cautious the way that we extend and stretch the matter. A caution in itself is a punishment. There are several things that you can do. If at home your child misconducts himself, you can pick up a cane in a setting and flog him. You can also caution him to desist from such behavior as a way of ensuring that he reforms. The president believes that in this particular instance, the apology, which is consistent with the sanctions regime in the code of conduct, and the caution by the chief of staff suffice when you relate it to the specific event that occurred.
The minority had earlier held a press conference in the course of the week and called on the president to really announce a stiffer punishment for Mr. Sammy Gyamfi. And this particular announcement, they would then accuse the Mr. President of being someone who cannot punish his appointees.
Well, the minority is free to say whatever they want, except that we will subject what they say to scrutiny, bearing in mind their own abysmal and appalling record in government. I mean, the levels of impunity that they displayed, they're free for all, and the tendency for the president to encourage such misconduct. I mean, these are a group of people who did not even take action against people who killed others during elections. There were stacks of theirs who invaded courts and ransacked the place. They went to Ayers West Wagon, shot at people, injured people. Nothing was done. So I'm not sure where the minority would get the moral authority from to even comment on this matter. But in this particular instance, specific action has been taken. The man has apologized. A public apology is part of the sanctions regime in the code of conduct. A caution which says don't do this again is also some form of punishment. And if the president did not take a serious view of the matter, he would not have occasioned these actions to be taken. So we believe that sufficient effort has gone into ensuring that this does not recur in the past.
If an appointee should apologize and the apology is accepted, and the same appointee repeats such act and also apologize, that one there will be sanction, or still let
again, that this your question is a bit of a stretch. I don't see how, if you go and do the very thing that you were cautioned not to do, you can apologize and get away with it. That won't happen. A caution means that if you were to repeat it, stiffer sanctions would apply. That is what the caution actually is. So I do not see how the scenario you are narrating would occur in this particular instance.
Felix, thank you very much for your time. Felix Kwakye,
the pleasure is all mine.
Felix Kwakye is Minister of State in charge of government communication. Let's go to the other line and speak to Dr. Kabiru Mahama, who is the member of